Welcome to this week's Cursed Countdown. Today, we will be going over individuals throughout history that has personally dispatched the most humans. The people we will reference span from war criminals all the way to serial killers and child rapists. The Cursed Countdown doesn't condone any of the behavior or events we are about to discuss. Number 10. Daniel Camargo Barbosa, 72 victims. Daniel Camargo Barbosa was born January 22, 1930, into a dysfunctional family. His mother died when he was young, and his father was emotionally distant. He was primarily raised by his stepmother, who would abuse him and dress him up in girls' clothing, causing him to face ridicule from his peers. As an adult, he would form a de facto union and father 2 children, later falling in love with another woman named Esperanza. He planned to marry Esperanza until he found out she wasn't a virgin. He gave her an offer to help him find young girls that were virgins to have sex with, and he would stay with her. She agreed. Esperanza then began to lure young girls into an apartment, then drugging them with sleeping pills. Camargo would then enter the room and rape the unconscious girls. None of these rapes ended in a killing, but a total of 5 girls fell victim to this method. The 5th child reported the rape happened to the police, and both Camargo and Esperanza were arrested. 3 years passed, and Camargo was released back into the streets to prey on more victims. One day, while walking past a school, he noticed a 9-year-old girl, which he kidnapped and raped, for the first time murdered in order to keep her from reporting the incident. Between 1974 to 1986, he would go on to rape and murder 71 more children, dispatching them by strangulation, and if they resisted, even stabbing them to death. After he was arrested, he would confess in an interview that his motives for the killings was to punish women for their unfaithfulness. Number 9. Mikhail Popkov, 78 victims. Born March 7th in 1964 Russia, Mikhail Popkov actively raped and murdered 78 women between 1992 and 2010. Known as the werewolf or the Angarsk maniac, Mikhail targeted only women, being motivated from his wife's adultery and believing all women to be deceitful and evil. So he took it upon himself to punish the entire gender. He killed women with instruments including knives, axes, baseball bats, screwdrivers, and mutilated the body so grotesquely he earned the nicknames mentioned earlier. Fortunately, Mikhail got sloppy, and some victims were able to escape, later identifying him and leading the authorities to make an arrest. Thus, his 2-decade-long killing spree came to an end. He later received 2 life sentences for the heinous crimes committed. Number 8. Pedro Lopez, 110 victims. Born 9 March 1980, Pedro Lopez hails from Colombia and is listed at number 8 on this list because although he claimed to have more than 300 kills, there were only proof that he killed 110. Pedro's entire life was one long tragedy. As a child, routinely witnessed acts of prostitution due to his mother being part of a sex ring. Witnessing that played a role on his psyche, and he was caught by his mother fondling his young sister, subsequently causing him to be banned from the family home. Now on his own, he was lured into a car by an unknown man and taken to an abandoned house where he was raped repeatedly. When he turned 12, an American family temporarily took him in and later enrolled him into a school for orphans. He would stay there for 2 years, then ran away after being molested by one of the male teachers. Before committing his murders, he was a petty car thief who was arrested at the age of 18. During his incarceration, he was brutally gang raped by other inmates. After the incident, he went on to murder his assailants, one by one. When he was released, he quickly earned his nickname, the Monster of the Andes. Killing as many as 3 girls a week, he would lure children into the woods, where he'd rape and murder them. Eventually, he was arrested and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. He would go on to be admitted into a psych ward instead. He was released in 1998, and his current whereabouts are unknown. Number 7. Luis Garavito, 138 victims. Born January 25th, 1957, Luis Garavito, known as The Beast, is a Colombian serial killer and rapist who between 1992 and 1999 killed and raped as many as 138 young boys and girls. What led him to start committing his crimes is unknown, but he specifically targeted children between the ages of 6 to 16, preferring victims who were homeless or orphans. He would offer them employment, posing as a priest, farmer, food vendor, drug dealer, and many other personas. Once he gained the child's trust, he would go on a long walk with them to purposely tire them out. After that, he would overwhelm them and bind them. He would then strip them naked and torture the children before raping them. He would stab their buttocks and insert sharp, heated objects into their anus. The male victims would have their testicles severed and stuffed into their mouths. Occasionally, he would decapitate them once he was satisfied. When their bodies were found, police often saw bite marks all over the victim, with lubricant, torture tools, and bottles of liquor nearby. Lewis was arrested in 1999 on charges of attempted rape. The police then started questioning him about the recent killings in the area, and this brought Lewis to tears. Although he had his emotional breakdown, he assured them that he was innocent. Police found glasses at the crime scene that were tied to Lewis due to him having a rare eye condition that made these specific glasses custom made. Now that they believed for certain that he was the beast, they waited until he left his jail cell. They then extracted DNA from hairs left behind on his pillow, matching it to the DNA found on the victim. With this overwhelming evidence, Lewis confessed to his crimes and was sentenced 1,853 years, but due to Colombian laws limiting jail time, is scheduled to be released in 2021. Number 6. Harold Shipman, 250 victims. January 14th, 1946, in an English hospital, Harold Shipman, also known as the Angel of Death, was born. He was a general medical practitioner active between 1975 until his arrest in 1998. Not much information is provided about his motives, but he killed 250 of his patients by injecting a lethal amount of morphine into their systems. The majority of his victims were elderly women, but it seems he didn't discriminate between age, race, and gender. He had victims as young as 4 years old. After the coroner at his institution noticed an odd number of the deceased being put under the care of Shipman and orders for cremation, he reported this to the police, and Shipman was arrested. At the trial, he was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole. He would then go on to commit suicide by hanging in his jail cell in 2004. Number 5. Amelia Dyer, 400 victims. Born June 10, 1886, Amelia Dyer is one of the most evil women ever known to history. Known as the baby farmer, Dyer would adopt unwanted newborns in exchange for money. She would immediately murder the children by strangulation and dispose of their bodies. The exact date she began these crimes are unknown. Although she was considered mentally insane, this era in history, documentation wasn't a big deal as it is now, so these children seemingly were never born. Dyer's downfall came when a police officer found the bagged corpse of an infant with evidence that led everything back to her. She was apprehended April 3, 1896 and was sentenced to death. Number 4. Second Lieutenant Simo Heiha, 505 victims. Simo Heiha was a Finnish sniper during World War II, nicknamed the White Death for his exploits in the Battle of Kola in the Winter War campaign. Simo was thought to have killed more than 505 men, but informal documentation states the following. 22nd December 1939, 138 sniper kills, 138 in 22 days. 26 January 1940, 199 sniper kills, 61 in 35 days. 17 February 1940, 219 sniper kills, 20 in 22 days. 7 March 1940, when Simo Heiha was seriously wounded. Total of 259 sniper kills, 40 in 18 days. Second Lieutenant Heiha was wounded when an explosive round hit his lower jaw and destroyed half of his face. Miraculously, he survived and will go on to gain his current rank and being decorated with the Cross of Liberty and the Medal of Liberty. Number 3. Major General Vasily Blokhin, 7,000 victims. Major General Blokhin served the Russian military during World War II as the chief executioner. Among the thousands of people he had ordered executed, he personally slew an outstanding 7,000 Polish prisoners during the Katyn massacre. This made him the most prolific executioner in mass murder in recorded history. After Stalin's death, he was forced into retirement and died in 1955 at the age of 60. Number 2. Major General Charles W. Sweeney, 80,000 victims. Sweeney was a bomber pilot during World War II, and on August 6, 1945, at 9:15 a.m., he dropped Fat Man, the bomb that could be heard around the world. The atomic bomb immediately laid waste to the Japanese city Nagasaki. The blast was so powerful, he completely leveled the entire city, and the heat literally melted the flesh of the victims from the bone. While some people were instantly incinerated, You can see their silhouettes on the ground and surfaces near them. When asked his personal opinion on the bomb, he stated, "I saw these beautiful young men who were being slaughtered by an evil military force. There's no question in my mind that President Truman made the right decision." Number 1. Brigadier General Paul Tibbets, 146,000 victims. Tibbets was a pilot of the Enola Gay, carrying the atomic bomb Little Boy. Although the Little Boy wasn't as powerful as the Fat Man, Hiroshima was more condensed, resulting in far more destruction. 3 days before the Fat Man was dropped, the Little Boy wiped out over 146,000 lives from the face of the earth in an instant. Effects from the two bombs are still being felt to this very day. Death is an unfortunate stage in life we will all face one day. The matter of how you pass isn't up to you. All you can do is keep yourself healthy and stay out of harm's way. We'd like to thank you guys for taking the time out of your lives to watch this video with us, and we hope you learned a few new things and enjoyed our content. We would like to give another shout out to our loyal donators on Patreon, Nina Marie, Doorknob Deal, and Amanda the Panda. If you would like to donate to our channel, we put the link to our Patreon in the description along with our other social media platforms. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Keep on living, and join us again next week for another installment of The Cursed Countdown.